Welcome, gentle listener. I am Baldermort, your faithful servant. It is a compilation of one of the ongoing plotlines of my fan fictions that are used to explore and demonstrate the setting of Warhammer 40k, the grim darkness of the far future, where there is no time for peace, there is only time for war. I do use musical themes, so often you will find the same tracks in each entry on one of these videos. But do bear in mind that these are musical prompts, for often the stories can be weeks apart in their continuation. So I feel the music kind of eases someone back into the storyline and the mood. Many an entry is the result of a vote, as I will leave many a tale on a cliffhanger, and then get the gentle listeners to forge the narrative by voting in the comments, so they can control the direction and events of the story. So, if you enjoy any of these stories, then do watch the weekly entries on the guides and prepare to exert your own influence and vote on the storylines. Now, I very much hope you enjoy the following compilation. Osmoguy Otoro. Osmoguy had always been different. His father was taken by a plague when he was barely born, the same plague that also ravaged his mother. She barely came out of it alive. Her fortitude was broken, and most days she lay in her tent, watching the world go by, her spirit shattered by the loss of her husband. So there was no roughhousing, no tickles and chases for Osmoguy, as there were no hunting trips and no fatherly direction. No guide to make the world of men make sense. Osmoguy was different to all of the boys in the camp. He was quiet and sullen and serious. He would only laugh under one strange circumstance, which all now knew so well. During or before a storm. On the first night he crawled, he was found outside during a storm, laughing while being drenched, his gaze on the lightning ignoring the winds and pouring rain. Osmoguy laughed. On the first night that he walked, he was again found outside, his fist clenched and pumping as a storm approached. He laughed hard and expansively, the only time he ever seemed to be off his guard, even as so young a child. Brought back to his mother's yurt, she had barely noticed he was gone in her world-weariness. She would often regale Osmoguy with the tale of how his uncle, the Khan of the tribe, had brought him in from the pouring rain laughing himself. When asked why he too laughed, the Khan replied, "Osmoguy reminds me of my brother, his father. He stands before the gale with a clenched fist, so people think he challenges the sky. I know better. He is laughing because he is excited. He is laughing with the storm. A mightier son a man could not ask. He makes me miss my brother very much." As he grew, Osmoguy would blaze his own trail, make his own path. He often went off alone and learned from the open steppes, Father Air and Mother Earth. He would spend entire days away, alone, just he and the steppes. He watched the hunting pattern of the eagle, its patience, its prey, its swift and deadly strike. He learned the hunting pattern of the fishing bear, its swaying stance, its single killing blow, its scooping up of the fish on its claws. But he was always active. Despite his expression being always unreadable, always guarded, Osmoguy was always active. None were faster, none more accurate, none more driven. But Osmoguy was always alone. He would demand to be shown how to do a thing, but always only the once. Then he would do whatever it was for himself thereafter. It was said by the other children, and even many parents in the camp. A fire burned in Osmoguy that burnt all around him. None tried to play with Osmoguy, for he did not play, he learnt. Everything he did was a step on his way to becoming independent. He was too intense. So it was that when the time for the trials came, all knew who would be the one chosen. It was always going to be Osmoguy. He defeated 50 other boys in tests of combat, wrestling, horsemanship, archery, stamina, pathfinding, and hunting. In Osmoguy, the tribe felt theirs was the strongest candidate in generations. It was always going to be Osmoguy. The wind blew an icy knife through them all day, but as they passed the last peak, it started to subside. They had ridden for days, then walked for more, all to get to this one place, this hidden and sacred place, the home of the Star Khans, Guangzhou. Power shrines sent small spindles of smoke into the heavens, and clamour of weapon on weapon, sword on shield echoed around the slopes of Kardun from the many training camps below. Osmoguy looked up at his uncle. They both knew it was perhaps for the last time. With a typical seriousness, but also with a gravitas almost unseemly for a boy so young, he addressed his uncle. "I wish to thank you, brother of my father, uncle of my blood." "For what do you thank me, son of my brother, Osmoguy, son of Osmoguy?" intoned the Khan, equally formally, but with a twinkle in his eye, and no small shadow of regret. He had chosen Osmoguy to succeed him, but this way was better, to be a Star Khan. Osmoguy would not now have to slay all of his male cousins, as was their way. He continued, "For the beatings, I did not understand why you had me beaten at first. When I let the other children win at racing or archery or any contest. For a long time I hated you, uncle. But then I realized you had me beaten to prove I should not do anything less than my best, no matter who was watching, no matter what happened. And it is this lesson I take to the Star Khans, to this place. I will always do my best. I will always be the best." The Khan looked down into the wide eyes, the earnest eyes, of his brother's son, and said, "And that is why many will hate you, Osmoguy, son of Osmoguy. Because you are the best. All men are men, as all boys are boys. You will have no friends, my nephew, for none can stare at the sun each day without starting to squint. But you will be feared, and you will be respected." The two then trudged the many ice and snow-covered steps to the gates of Guangzhou. They did not speak ever again. I need no helm, but I wear one as it is our ritual. It separates me from the one who walks the paths. I am now complete again. I am now whole again. I am what I was always supposed to be. I am a warrior atop a Wraithbone's steed. We charge across the skies. My heart sings as I speed through the air. I am the wind. I am its swiftness. I am its silken strength. I am its power. I am its tumultuous wrath. I am one with the sky. Like a cloud I hovered high in preparation, all-seeing as the sky, watchful, oft-times brooding. I am surrounded by the lightning that inhabits the clouds. I am at one with my most natural self. Tomorrow, after this skirmish with lesser combatants, I shall present myself to the shrine of the shining spears, my last time atop my saddle without a lance. I am a hawk preparing to dive, but all I see are rabbits. The Monkey flee from my brothers, corralled one way then the other, but always the herd is dwindling. We have the right of the matter, we have the right of the cause, we have the right of the purity of our blood. They have trespassed and will pay the price. We do not give quarter to the lesser. They should know their place. It is kinder to teach the few, the better to inform the many. But what doth mine eye see? Ah, the Monkey are not all callow striplings and grey-bearded haggards. I spot a flash of white. At last! At last! Long have I yearned for this. Long have I wished to take this test. Long have I wished to match my skills against the vaunted white scar. I see their formation move, swiftly for their kind, but they are supposed to be the best the Monkey can offer. Born to the saddle, they say of these ones. I have fought Space Marines before, but never these ones. For Monkey, the Marines move fast, they are confident. They know the rage of Calum and Chicane, the bloody-handed god. But of course, in the stale and supine way of the Monkey. They are usually slow of body, slow of mind, beings of different caliber, weaker, clumsier, uglier mockeries of our grandeur. Their similarity, I sometimes think, their worst affront. Time to focus. An Astartes, a space marine, is a worthy foe. Better to give them their due, the honor of undistracted concentration. I must remember this moment. His steed is landlocked. Ah, the pity. I was told that the Monkey once had steeds as ours, ungainly and noxious as they were, but able to ply the skies as we. The Monkey have forgotten how to mate them. No, really. How I laughed at that. But oh, how I wish he was astride the skies as well. Alas, hunt a rat I must. A fast and well-trained, tough rat. But a rat. Well, time for the cat to pounce. I fall on him and fire down with my shuriken catapults. He has spotted me, despite the action all previously being before and behind him. Yet he noticed me from the only quiet water, the skies. Good. Let us do the dance of blades and blood, Monkey. He veers and his speed increases. He knows he cannot be my equal in reach or reflexes, airbound as I am, so he will use the broken city as his shield, his defense. He swears and ducks admirably as the chase begins, me above, him below. My shuriken have the greater speed, but his clumsy bolt has the greater range. But how will he put me in his sights? He lets me know immediately, as a ramp raises him in the air and he twists the bike in mid-somersault, firing those loud projectiles like missiles at me. I twist and avoid this first of his attempts to take a dragon from the sky with clumsy arrows. My response is swift and simple, as I spray shards of monofilament shuriken into his silhouette. I hear some bounce off his ceramite armor, but some penetrate. Ah, Marines are tough, like an orc. But I will call that first blood to me. His vehicle lands and speeds away from me, so he can find another outcrop or angle to launch himself at me. I swirl in the air and turn on the spot and instantly after him. We have the great grace. A point I need to prove as I gain further respect for my enemy. He finds a gradient. I am prepared, but he is good. He turns back in his saddle, all the while dodging me, my fire, to hurl a small object back in my direction. I have to perform a 90-degree turn upward to evade the explosion of a fragmentation grenade. Clever. When I turn back to the ground, he is further on his quest for the correct ground for the finale of our duel. I follow him. I see the blood red seeping out of him from my early hits and swear I will make this swift. A victory due to blood loss is no victory at all. It will be swift and it will be brutal. I see he has removed his helmet, his hair flowing in the winds. I hear him laughing. He is alive. And join him, why not? We laugh as we feel the air around us, the thrill of the chase, the heat of the blood. He with his loud and heavy Desteria, his warhorse, me with my steed of clouds and lightning. Today, we both rejoice at being alive. For one of us, it ends. Are we so different? Would either of us have it any other way? Today is a good day to live. Today is a good day to die. I need no helm, but I wear one as it is our ritual. I see him, waiting in the skies. I make myself a blatant target. My white makes me seem the rabbit. Eldar, come. Well, time for the cat to pounce. You think you're eagle and I am rabbit. But no, you're fish and I am bear. Come, fish, follow me. Let us do the dance of blades and blood. I cannot be his equal in reach or reflexes, grounded as I am. So I will use the broken city as my shield, my defense. I swerve and duck as the chase begins. Him above, me below. He sure can have the greater speed. My bolt has the greater range. But how will I put him in my sights? Heh! I show him immediately, as I see a ramp rising, pointing me to the skies. I twist my bike as I climb from the ramp and fire heavily at him. He swerves and sprays Xenos stars at me. Some bounce off, 1 or 2 hit. I breathe for a moment, but my Astartes' body heals quickly. I will not die of blood loss this day, Eldar. I speed away from him, trying to find the right ground for our battle. He is above me, so I launch a grenade at him, clever, to keep him interested. He dodges with ease, as I knew he would, but he continues to fly after me. Come, fish, come closer. My helmet is a hindrance when watching the skies, so I take it off and stow it. The wind flows through my hair against my face. I laugh. I feel alive. And to my surprise, the Eldar joins me. We laugh. Are we so different? Come, fish, follow me. For today is a good day to live. Today is a good day to die. I remember, when I was only an initiate, I had a potent dream. I woke from it, and the pain in my head was mighty. So I went to see the storm seers, for no normal dream was this. The Tower of Lightning was foreboding to many, but I always felt calmer when I saw it. More so when I approached. This time would be no different. As I entered, my headache, the whirlwind in my mind slowed. I approached the storm seer, and we discussed my dream. About the red eagle, and how I saw it in many places at many times. A furious dream like a whirlwind, the pain from which lessened as I spoke. When I was finished, the seer pondered long, and said to me, Osmoguy, the red eagle will always be in your life, the only friend you will never have, the only adversary worthy of your skill. Your fates are linked. You will meet many times, and... On my last day on the path of the dreamer, I had a mighty vision. The next day I woke and went to the dome of the seers for enlightenment. I spoke of my vision, the white tiger and its dripping maw, its growl, and seeing it in many places at many times. When I finished, the seer pondered long and then said to me, Asternos Ladranoth, the white tiger will always be in your life. The only friend you will never have, the only adversary worthy of your skill. Your fates are linked. You will meet many times, and... We chase each other down endless roads. I use the city as a shield from his speed, but always I draw him back in. Come, fish, chase me. We reach an area where there are 2 adjacent long roads. We race, but when there are gaps, we reveal more of ourselves as the battle ensues. On the second break in the buildings between us, he turns his steed and fires his shuriken, but they pass over my head as I slip down and ride my bike from its side only. On the third break he aims his pistol at where I ought to be, firing into nothing, as I am leaning backwards on my bike, my head hanging just over the exhaust, my arms spread wide to either side. On the fourth break, he is riding his bike while balancing upside down above his handlebars. My shuriken again missed the target. It is then that I hear a cheer from my left, as I see 3 of my brothers following us from a respectful distance, but watching the duel play out. We will not be outdone by an Eldar. On the 5th break, he is riding the front of his bike like a wave. My bolter rounds swim past him, harmlessly. It is then that I hear a cheer from my right, as 3 of my brethren Windriders watch what ensues. We will not be outdone by a Monkey. On the 6th break, his bike comes to run alongside me. It is empty, and I instantly sweep my arm backwards. As I land on the back of his bike, the Astartes moves with a lightning I had not expected and sweeps my legs out from under me. I land hard on my back, on his back's fat posterior. I twist and put my right foot on the bar, holding us steady and straight, as I turn fully in my saddle and punch the Eldar in the head. Still trying to regain my balance, his clenched fist thunders into my helmet and cracks it and the visor. I avoid his second blow and snap the catch on my now hindering headgear. It flies off and my hair whips around me as I roll to the right onto my own bike once more. I can see his face, the grin, the wind in his hair. He is alive. He is laughing. I join him. As he takes out a long dagger and I draw my combat knife, we stand atop our steeds and match steel to steel. He is agile and fast. His ripostes are thunder and send vibrations down my arms, almost loosing my grip on the blade each time he counters me. Like lightning we move, sparks from our blades filling the air in our wake. It will almost be a shame to kill him. His eyes widen as he snaps a look to our 4. I follow his eyes for a fleeting second and see what he saw. A human woman holding a baby. She is in the middle of the road. We are seconds away from crushing her. I snap my eyes to his. I snap my eyes to his. In one fluid movement, I slip my knife into its sheath and extend my hands. In one fluid movement, I slip my combat blade into its sheath and extend my hands. A scream in my mind. A scream in my mind. We push off from each other, and my bike careens towards a wall, close but harmlessly past a woman and her child. I launch myself from my bike and roll to reduce the impact. My bike is gone, but so is his, as I see it plant into a building. He is already in the air, coming down at me. He does not land. He comes straight at me with his feet powering into my face. He strikes hard, but my hand whips up and grabs at his legs in that split second after his last strike and him landing. I twist and hurl him at the wall. He caught me. How? I fly into the wall and land hard. The air explodes from my lungs as I feel my armor absorb enough force to prevent my spine from shattering. But it is close. How did he move so fast while my foot was in his face? He lands and rolls and springs at me, low and ready. He comes down with a huge knife strike. I dodge to the side and come over with a swing of my own. His hand moves fast, but mine slightly faster. The impact slowed him more than he knows, and I catch his hand. I then bring my other arm up and pull his arm down and hear the crack as it bends backwards 90 degrees. He snaps my arm like a twig. Lightning of pain courses through my veins, but I am ready, and as the knife falls from my right arm, I catch it with my left and slam it under his armor at the shoulder. As I let go of him with my right arm, as it is now useless, the Eldar knife cutting off all sensation. I grab his knife with my left arm and pull it out. Covered in my own blood, it is still beautiful how close. So ornate. I am reminded of the weapons of my own people as I stare at it, covered in my blood. I step back to review my handiwork and lament my end. He now has my knife. He cannot harm me without the knife. My armor is too strong. I cannot harm him without the knife. His armor is too strong. The knife lands before me in the dust. I look up. His people make a sound like a cheer from behind him. I half expect him to leap on me as I sweep down for the blade, but he just takes a step back. I step back and allow him to pick up the blade. If I am to end him, or be ended this day, it will be with honor. As his hand touches the blade, as my hand touches the blade, I hear the squawk of an eagle. I hear the growl of a tiger. We circle each other, our expressions identical. Surprise. We circle each other. A group of new riders enters the scene. Their sky bikes sweep down the road, but their livery is different. Green, not red. They move towards the woman and babe, stock still in shock at their near miss, but they are not so kind. As her head topples to the floor, both the white scar and the same-hand warrior sneer, and see the sneer of the other. These are not the same. These are butchers. With the advent of the new force, the white bikes of the scars ride in and pick up their ally. In tandem with them, a red bike comes hurtling down to pick up the wounded same-hand warrior. As both are dragged away from their very private fray, their eyes lock for a second, and they both offer a warrior's salute. I will see you soon, White Tiger. I will see you soon, Red Eagle. White Tiger will show you mercy only once, but thereafter he will always try to slay you. If you do not fight at your very best, Tiger will eat you alive. He will be there to test you, to allow you to grow, and to help you on your way to the cloak of many colors. But in the end, it is you who must save White Tiger, or your family will end in infamy. Red Eagle will receive your mercy only once, but thereafter he will always try to slay you. If you do not fight at your best, Red Eagle will kill you. He will be there to test you, to allow you to grow, and to help you on your way to the seat of a Khan. But in the end, it is he who will save you, your company, and an entire sector of the Imperium. That was over 100 years ago. Against all the odds, against the rule of logic, we have met so many times. I am the hidden scuttling one. I am the scorpion's sting. I am the assault marine. I am the onward rush of the Khan. I am the dark one, the reaper of souls. My hands extend, and something dies. I am the devastator marine. My brothers advance under the cover of my fire. I am the bird in flight, the hunter of the skies. Once more my crimson cuts the clouds. I am the pilot, the finder of ways in my warhawk of metal. I am the avenger dire in countenance. None shall pass my line. I am the tactical marine, the center of all ways. I am the warlock, my mind, my weapon, the warp mind to command. I am the sergeant, I lead from the front, my men with me. I am the dragon's breath, the fire of destruction. I am the lieutenant, my word is law, my experience and training guide me. I am the autarch, the many-colored one, all paths my feet have trodden. I am a Khan, first among equals. One day we shall meet again.
We remember the day he walked into our shrine to prostrate himself before us, to request to become our disciple, to walk the path of the warlock. Athenos Landrenos, the Red Bird. He is known amongst our people, renowned across the entire craft world, every clan, every blade we command. For in every path of the aspects of Cain that he has trodden, he had excelled. Many report that he outshone the very exarchs of the shrines to which he joined, but we felt this was hyperbole. Our people need so much to believe, to hope, so we thought they floundered, and desperately reached out to anyone anything that could fill this void, this need. A need for a future, a need for heroes. Some say he, Aethernos Landrenoth, is to Samhan what Iriel is to Iandan. A bright hope for the dawn, a fiery blade arisen to lead us during this time of ending. Perhaps he is, but we will not cater to his ego. We will not strew rose petals before his path to ease his procession towards the cloak of many colours. We will not make it easy. We were not to know, but we were about to find out. So, the prodigal son dons the mask and splits his soul again. Do you never tire of war, young one? Do you not wish to walk other paths before you're called to your doom?
Nay, master. My time is short, and the hour grows dark. I would walk the path in preparation of the part I am destined to play.
Destiny is a fickle mistress. She promises much, but rarely delivers. In the nuances of her gazes, she beckons on, and gladly they dance to her tune, never knowing the music may stop at any point where she tires of the frivolity, or perhaps she rises one up to be sacrificed to the legend of another, her newest of more. You chase shadows of glory, but that is all they are. Shadows. They have no substance.
I witness your wisdom and see the truth in it. I know I was right to choose you as master for this segment of my journey.
You know no shame. How gracious of you that we, Silgar of the Tower of Stars, who has guided this craft world among the Seer Council for over 4,000 years, we could be a footstep to your legend, Aethernos Landrenoth. The conceit.
Wilt thou deny me then?
Oh no. We merely show you what we see, as our first lesson. We see more than you imagine, boy. And in you we see greatness, as others have. But we also see pride, the key to our people's downfall. And we will not permit you to wear the cloak of many colours before you have satisfied us that you are not our greatest weakness, returned to lead us astray.
Then I shall excel.
So easily? You believe all is within your power? Then you will fail. We do not take kindly to those who see this path as a stepping stone, boy. It is not.
No. I shall excel, for I shall be the best student you have ever taught. For your every word, every gesture, musing, discussion, or example, I shall absorb. I shall be your best student, because I have chosen the best master in all of this craft world. Perhaps of all time. And due to this I shall face the hardest of trials, the deepest of dangers, the most shattering of experiences. For you do not like me. So you will hold no bars, will never ease my way or mollycoddle me, for you are the greatest challenge I have ever faced, and I will meet this challenge by walking the path of the warlock as an exemplar. As your shadow, your hands, your feet, I shall be as a slave to your teachings. To your knowledge I shall be a rose that opens before the warmth and light of the sun. But when you are done with me, you will respect me. For I will epitomize your training. Everything you have ever wanted to impart to a warlock, you will find in me. Not because of destiny or pride or will, but because you are the best. So will train the best. And if I survive this trial, I will be ready. Ready for whatever may come, destiny or no.
Behind our helm, a wry smile cracks across our face despite ourselves. He is a gifted flatterer, but we have reached into his mind while he spoke. He believes in himself, it is true, and necessary, but he is honest. He believes even more in us. It is writ all across his very soul. He is open and ready to learn. the first sign he has what it takes. Maybe. Then attend me, for you shall get what you so desperately wish, the hardest path, one which may well be your end. But mark well, Athanos Landranoth, if you fail, our ire will be a thing of terror, such that you wish you were in the midst of the dark city of Kormala. Do you understand?
I would have it no other way, Master,
says he as he bows and sits at our feet, looking up in the position of the disciple. We do not like him. He is right, but we do pity him. We do so for all the things he must learn, the horrors he must confront, the painful truths he must absorb, and he is right. We will test him beyond anything and anyone we have ever taught before. We shall burn him with knowledge. He will come out of this the best. Like a master potter, we shall fire him, glaze him, or he will be dust. For there is nothing worse than false hope, a false idol, a false hero. He will be forged, or he will be broken. We are amidst the clouds, atop our Wraithbone jet bike. Our warlock council is around us. The one who wears the cloak of many colours, the autarch. He asks us to see. We coordinate. We overlook the battlefield from a myriad of our angles, my consciousness above, beyond, surpassing all others in its depth of scope. We sense new players on the field before ere they appear. Astartes, Monkai. The White Tiger is among them. Their goal is destruction of the Dark Ones, as is ours. We can feel the excitement rebounding from him, Athanos Landranoth. His will is strong, his patience and discipline iron. He does not even reposition. Stock still is he, despite how we can all feel him, his rising panic, his restlessness. He wishes to be let slip. He has worked hard. He has done all that we have asked him. He has fulfilled every oath. And he was right. We do now respect him, for he has been the most able, but also the most attentive student we have ever had the joy of teaching. A pity that in no future do we see him walk in the path of the Farseer. But he has but one path now. He has earned this. Athanos Landranoth, your friend awaits. Go. He says nothing, but inclines his head to me, and then he is off. With him gone, our position is given away, but no matter, for we were about to drop our cloak of obfuscation anyway. We raise our singing spear in the air and incline it down, pitching the nose of our Wraithbone jetbike down in the same action. We fly towards the enemy, the foul ones, and we bring all the wrath of Kayla Mensha Kane down on them.
I need no helm, but I wear one as it is our ritual. It separates me from the one who walks the paths. The Khan has command of all here. The matter is of such importance. The lieutenant is down, and so as senior sergeant, I am now his hammer, the one to lead the way, his fist. And the time is nigh. We have been fighting our way through these scum for hours, heading toward the monster in its lair. We know there are a pair of greater demons here. We must destroy them. After hard fighting in the skies, few vessels remain to us, even fewer pilots. And my Khan had need of the speed of the winds of Chigoris this day. Hence do I sit in the cockpit of a landspeeder typhoon. Beside me is the most important man in the battle we're about to fight. A demon bane, the Stormseer. I must make sure he arrives at the right point to turn the battle. Our forces advance into the city fast, the bikes of Astartes, the thundering outriders of the Primaris. The impulsors carry forward our intercessors, their blood already up for the fray. Our company hunt the concentrations of them, find them fast, then envelop them and destroy them. Ever we search for their nest, where their lords are hid. There are twisted pink and blue beings scattering in packs, abominations that burst fire in streams of many colors. But we are the sons of the plains, we are the white scars. We are never in one place long enough for them to recover. Where they should be the beings of confusion, it is we that wage a maddening war. Displays show that the field is not as simple as that. The Eldar come from the other side, with wind and lightning, shuriken and bright lance they come, tearing through the twisted ones as we, heading for the same point mayhap. The captain sends coordinates. It is his way. I know what I must do. I thunder through the air, hugging the edges of buildings for cover as I advance at full throttle. I can see our forces, how the battle fears. We are being bogged down, held up. There are many of them. Perhaps too many. I approach my coordinates and look over. The Stormseer already has unbuckled himself and clutches his weapons. He is ready. We are here. It is a large cathedral. Its doors torn open, its windows destroyed by the whirlwind of war. Far from the front of the lines is this, the horrors hundreds of yards behind and embattled. The Stormseer winks at me, his head open, so he may better use his senses, then dives out of the landspeeder. He lands hard on the marble stairs, cracking many with his feet. He rights himself with a bristle, then strides purposefully into the very dragon's den. It is then that I receive another priority message. New coordinates, and a sigil with one instruction. Attempt. Ah, there are two then, it is confirmed. I shall attempt to slay the other greater demon. I climb into the skies, ready to dive down on the location. It is then that I see him. It can be none but he. The way he rides. It has been 100 years, but I have not forgotten. As a wild rider, as a shining spear. Of all that I have faced, only he has ever looked like that, flown like that, as if the entire sky was his, he its firstborn son. So, Red Eagle, let us do the dance of blades and blood. But we shall have to do this en route. I have a demon to kill. I am the warlock, my mind my weapon, the warp mind command. I feel him, I know he is here somewhere. I consult the runes as I fly, they lead me. It is more that they indicate the lines of connectivity that lead from he to me. Silgar of the Tower of Stars would never deign to allow one of his acolytes to indulge in a petty duel, or worse, associate with a Monkey, if there was not a crux point hinging on it. He knew I knew that the second he instructed me to leave. He will never explain this before his other pupils, that in the instant he discerned the presence of the Scars and White Tiger, he would have seen their impact on the fray. He is my master for a reason. He is the best. The perfect balance between sagacity, tenacity, calm, and, when required, to be roused to it, blood-boiling wrath. The wrath of Calamentia Kane himself. But he will never admit that his sending me was not an act of indulgence or grace, but a part of the puzzle only he saw. The manifold futures bursting from each of his decisions and that of those around him, like the branches of an ancient tree. The mind of a Farseer is always more active than all of those around them. Always. And so he does me no favours, my prestige, my standing. But this will make it easier later. The harder it all is now. I also cannot deny that I am elated, for I get to fight him again, White Tiger. And I spot him immediately. Alas, when you are white and growl so loudly, then all will see from whence you come. But how do I know it is him? Because he hugs the ground low and cunning, ears back, growling to create fear, his engine so loud, but presenting a reduced target as he closes to pounce. It is as when we first met, high above looking down. But this time, as I so wished for him the first time, he is bestride a steed that complied the skies. Well, I think. It sheds tears. It is ugly, his steed. But it is a steed. He drops his speed for a moment, expertly firing his engines when whipping around. Out drops a marine, one gifted with his knowledge of the warp. I can feel his presence. He goes to confront the demon directly. Alas, if none come for him, none support him, then he is a dead Monkey. That is a servant of Tzeentch, not Nurgle or She Who Thirsts. Pure power alone will avail him little against the Lord of Change, a demon of wizardry. Perhaps. No. Silgar of the Tower of Stars would never lower himself so. But what is this? I find myself above, he now climbing into the skies. I am sorry. There are a multitude of enemies around us, White Tiger, but really, would you want it any other way? At this, the nose of my jet bike lowers into a dive, my shuriken catapults whirl into life. He rabbits, ducking behind cover as he accelerates faster than I had anticipated. Good. Let us do the dance of blades and blood again, White Tiger. Lead me to destiny while I attempt to rake out your eyes with my talons. I open fire and spray the cockpit of his ungainly steed. They barely scratch his ceramite armor. He was pitching perfectly to evade the worst of it, where he could not avoid all of it. I can feel his attempts to lock on to me, behind him though I am. I've seen those missile pods firing off before. The missiles can follow, but I will not permit this. If you want me, you will have to outfly me and get me into your bolter's sights, White Tiger. He tries. So bold, so strong, he is indeed a tiger. He shows me he has tricks up his sleeve. As we race against each other, he low again, but not for long. I pass a hab stack and he is there, practically beside me. He crept around the sides of the building in a burst of speed and superb control. He fires instantly, but sees nothing but shadows. Conceal. The rune for the hidden implodes and burns out as I cloak myself in darkness amidst the glaring day. He cannot see me, so turns back on course, but weaves like a butterfly, alternating height and speed regularly. He has learnt so much about being aloft. I remember our dogfights at 10 times these speeds. I am enjoying this too much, as my master suspected. But then, despite being behind the mask, I am who I am. Warrior and walker of other paths both. I was a dreamer once. Still me. I rise up, then dart after him, swooping like my namesake. Alas, we are interrupted. The flying manta-like monstrosities of Tzeentch fill the air before us, as we must be nearing the center of the contamination, the source. He lets fly with his heavy bolter, many of these beasts exploding in showers of unnatural viscera. Before us we can both see the twisting effect, the maddening unreality of the warp seeping into our realm. It is raining upwards, the ground slowly desiccating beneath us to provide the moisture. Each drop is a screaming face, a wounded animal, a perfect sculpture in miniature, fluidly shifting and in motion, upwards, each drop of rain. The hab blocks beneath us are jostling each other for air, a scrimmage of rockcrete and plasteel, the buildings shorn of their foundations and prowling the region for things to step or fall on. Everything has an ever-deepening tinge of blue, like we move not towards a place in the open air, but across an ocean floor. Deeper and deeper we head with every second. Some of the manta monsters get past White Tiger's fields of fire and attach themselves to his back fin, pulling him off course. Alas, a coincidence. My arm was poised, pulled back behind me, the length of psychoactive power in my hand ablaze. Its tip a burning lance, its length a glaze of fire. I loose my dart, my singing spear, the concentration of my entire psychic might. It flies towards my mark, but hits the taggers on instead. The mantas are punctured through and set alight, both crumpling into nothing. As the skies are swiftly cleared by his heavy bolter and my spear, he dies down to his targets. Knowing my especial liking of grenades, I see his hand raise over the cockpit and release one into the wind for me. Lamentably, I was not able to get out of the way in time, so touched was I by his gesture. As the fragmentation shatter in my face and the flames lash around me, not one but 3 of my defensive runes erupt from my armor in a blaze of light, burning out, but forcing all of the fragments and flames to part as I dart through them. My runic armor is not inexhaustible. I shall have to return the favor somehow. He flies at his top speed through the rain that flies upwards, which is deeply confusing for him, I can tell. He is less acrobatic now, I am sure. It is difficult to untrain the mind that the rain is not the source of safety from collision with the ground. Down, not up. Up, not down. A manufactorum attempts to lunge upwards with some of its walkways and attempt to entangle us like butterflies. I would slip around them with ease, but perhaps his answer is better. I follow as he launches a brace of his missiles into the oncoming metal trap, blasting away straight through it. We power through, but do not stop. And onwards we rush towards a massive building at the center of the conurbation, the mirror of the building we saw before, where White Tiger had dropped off another of his chapter, a huge erection to the glory of their god emperor by the design of it. But outside, standing at the front of it, but shrouded, there is something hidden. Reveal. I force my will into the runes hovering about me, charging another to burn its effect into reality. Beneath us, the shrouding is shattered by my rune, my power, but only just. The being beneath is powerful. The blue deepens further as it is revealed, making distances more difficult to estimate, more aquatic and dreamlike, soporific. But it has appeared, a feathered one, a lord of change. And I see why I am here, why my master sent me. Tiger flies low and strays it, launching a probing missile. But the bolters and the missiles pass through a field around it, like a bulb, and become little more threatening than confetti. I swear I see the bird extend its neck before the fluff and puff hits it harmlessly. Is it grinning? If a bird can be seen to be grinning, then this one is now. We shall have to do something about that. Tiger has circled fast but sure, taking in every angle. I switch to my otherworldly senses, to witch sight, to gain the lay of the land. Power is flooding from it, like fountains of might being released in steady flows into the very veins of this world. The being is weakened. It has rooted itself to the spot, to be the central funnel of the energies from the rites across the entire globe. He is forcing his will into the world itself, to corrupt every blade of grass, every rock, every river, every mountain and prairie. But he is immobile. But he is not defenseless. Bubbles of rockcrete now float upwards in a huge area. Like mines, if he or I go within meters of them, their suspending fields burst. But they will fall in different directions at different speeds or gravitational pulls. A mystery to the eyes. I rely on my witch sight for clarity. The thing has thrown them up to deflect White Tiger's missiles, his bolts, the shuriken from my jetbike, the burn of my singing spear. Neither of us can get through its defenses alone. Ah, Silgar, you old fox. I burn through more of my runes as I affect the strands of reality. I am fast enough for my jetbike, but White Tiger has a fat grox of a steed. Protect. I throw the folds of my mastery over him also, positively nudging fate here, bustling her along there, always through my runes. I would not directly touch the warp when in the presence of a feathered one, oh no. By working through the middle ground of the runes I can access my powers, our Eldar strength of old, and remain pure, untainted by the feathered one's filth. My training has indeed been superlative, as my reactions ply the waves of discord thrown off by our adversary, and I weave the strands to our benefit. Rocks bounce off harmlessly, when before fate had decided they would have grounded either he or I. Direct lightning columns from the feathered one are just off, shunted by the power of the runes. Just. I see it is time to go on the offensive when White Tiger target locks me. In the midst of fighting a greater demon, he has taken the time to try to kill me. I laugh. I know he is laughing as well. I know it. Especially when his thumb squeezes the release and the entire contents of his missile pack slips from its moorings and leaps through the air towards me. Aha! I see his plan. Well, unless it is just my demise, of course. I laugh harder. Tears near rolling from my eyes as I see him dive towards the feathered one, drawing its fire. Emboldened. I burn yet another rune as I feel the wave of warp energy cascade towards him, the feathered one attempting to scare off the tiger. It fears him and his large vehicle being used as a weapon. It knows well, as I see the target preparing to jump out of the vehicle, but has stopped still. My rune takes effect and his paralysis, his palsy, well, more mesmerism really, is broken. He leaps out, his fat grox aimed directly at the feathered one. The heat-seeking missiles he gave me to play with are following me and gaining. I twist and dive, flying faster than I have since I held a shining spear to avoid them, but also to guide them. I flip my bike over in the air and drag the missiles with me toward the feathered one. I guide them round and round the rock-crete and straight towards him. Now it is time for me to prove my knowledge. All of my training has brought me to this point, this moment. Silgar of the Tower of Stars knew this, my final test. I know he watches. I will prove it. Prove I am the best you have ever trained in this one feat. Time to be about it. As fast as I am, my runes circle around me, as I power everyone simultaneously ready for this display. You see, the dreamers and glyphs that float around the Feathered One are potent. No one thing will bring them down, not from either of us here, because they are simple attacks, and power is less important than complexity when dealing with the beings of Tzeentch. I could throw blasts of my own, or my spear, but they are only psychic manifestations, well, mostly. The missiles of the Marine are physical, as are the shuriken or bolters, but when combined, ha! I saw White Tiger's ploy and now fulfill it. Restrain. A rune explodes and the Feathered One cannot move. Time slows for it. Now its own aquatic effect is turned against it, as the bird moves through the bottom of the ocean's depths. Jinx. A rune explodes and a dark cloud of energy, a curse's miasma, blooms around the Feathered One. All blows will now be felt more keenly. Innovate. Drain. 2 runes explode, and the curse deepens, sapping the thing of its supernatural strength and speed, for seconds only, but it is enough. Horrify. A rune explodes in a wave of fear as he threw at my ally, now descends on the demon. But this curse it manages to deny, to tear apart before it can descend onto the others and deepen. As I lead the missiles toward it, I know things will be tight. I have just burnt through most of my runes, so this had better work. 2 left. Empower. I raise my arm back and launch my singing spear with all of my might. It slams towards the demon, and I follow up with a direct use of power. As the singing spear strikes the shield, my own energy lashes it too. Mystic might of 2 flavors. Last one. Quicken. My last rune explodes, and time is again on my side. All around me slows, and I feel a free hand for a mere second or 2. I fly straight towards the demon, only pulling up at the last second. You can see why I cursed it so much before this. And then my spear, my energies, are less than a second later matched with the many missiles and the ugly but large and explosive vessel of the Marine. All hit it. The curses, the spear, my lightning, the missiles, the speeder. All hit and keep hitting as the missiles explode in quick succession. And as I pull up, I know my bike is doing most of the flying. I can barely focus, barely stay atop my steed. The exhaustion. But I do. The Feathered One is gone. The first sign of this is the bubbles of rockcrete all falling at once. The power simply turned off. I sit atop my bike and chortle as White Tiger has to run and dive and duck to avoid being crushed. I have not the energy for the belly laugh it would usually elicit, but I will never forget it. Watching him leap in long strides and pounces, as his namesake. But it is over. Here, at least. The Feathered One is banished. The other is being dealt with. It seems my master has decided to destroy it personally, and I almost pity the demon. The 2 stood on the wind-swept battlements of Guangzhou. The captain's presence had been requested by the master of the hunt himself. Not a usual occurrence. It could mean only one thing. The long overdue talk. Long overdue. Captain Osmoguy had arrived exactly as requested. Not a second earlier, not a nanosecond late. He stood in his power armor, the white almost disappearing in the snow and wind that whipped around them. Only the red or gold edging of his armor defined him. This also went for the master of the hunt's attire, but both men were armed. Captain Osmoguy took position next to the master of the hunt. He knew why they stood here. The lesson was told in the vista before them, the topic certain. Both looked out across the approach to Guangzhou, the chapter fortress of the White Scars. The thin line of the approach up to the fortress bristling at every pace with a silvered skull atop a tall pike. The results of the hunts. The enemies of the chapter revenged.
"Let me be candid, Captain Osmoguy,"
began Khosrau Khan.
"It is pointless to do otherwise, Master of the Hunt," said Captain Osmoguy. "The hunt is one of our most sacred rituals. It is who we are. We name a foe of our chapter, an enemy who has escaped our wrath. Then we hunt him, and we slay him. I am aware of our ways, Master of the Hunt." "Then you are aware that the name must be entered onto the rolls before a hunt can be called." "Of course." "Then why, Captain Osmoguy, have you not entered the name of a certain Eldar into the rolls? Have you not faced him 12 times now over the ages? Has he not fought against our chapter more times than any other individual in our recent history? Yet his name is not on the rolls. Red Eagle, as you call him. Why?"
"Though he be Xenos, Eldar, of Craftworld Samhan, though we have pitted our skills against one another over the ages, he is not our enemy." The Master of the Hunt now turned bodily and looked directly at Osmoguy. The captain mirrored the move. Both now stood with arms wide, hands on hips, squaring off. Both had their hands dangerously close to their swords.
"Your words eat themselves, like a snake devouring its tail."
"No, they do not. I take my calling, my destiny, from the Stormseers, for I will meet the Red Eagle again many times. I have never restrained my hand, never shied away from slaying him. We are equally matched. But one day it is prophesied that he will aid us, aid me, in saving a company and a sector. It is foretold.
Then, when this is over, the very moment this prophecy has been woven, then I expect his name to be on my list."
"You are not needed for me.
The time approaches, I go. I take my company to a small world called Abundance Tertius.
For it is foretold that in our last meeting one of us would die. If it be me, then you can add his name to your list, personally." The two glared at each other for what seemed an eternity. Then both nodded, and Osmoguy twisted on his heel and stalked away. Khosrau Khan looked out across the wide expanse approach to Guangzhou and the many, many thousands of silver skulls there contained, each one an enemy brought low by each successive master of the hunt. The master, Khosrau Khan, grinned to himself. Osmoguy. He saw so much of himself in the young captain. But if Osmoguy did not return from this agri world, he would add the name of the Red Eagle or Tarkos Samhan to the list. Then he would hunt him, and he would kill him. I have been Baldermort, your faithful servant. I hope you've enjoyed the story so far and will join us on the weekly entries as a result, and will like and subscribe. If you do, then hit the notifications button, as I would not want you to miss out. Now, no matter what you do today, do try to make some time for fun. Toodaloo.